All right, guys. So something I want to show you quickly about sizing. Remember initially when we were doing this one, okay, I explained to you when you're crocheting, first of all, the idea to get this side was to have a straight line. So I started with one straight line coming out, which was from here. You need a straight edge first, and then I measured how far in I need to come. Then I also just make sure I'm starting in a straight line. That was important. And start crocheting upwards to get the fit. Coming up, I showed you, and you can go back to those videos, I showed you how to make the increase. So watch those videos and get the increase for this coming off like that, okay? Now, if you follow the instruction that I gave initially for this one, it will help you moving forward easier. Say now, I don't want to hand crochet, so I'm going to use the adding machine by making the two pieces, but I still need that same measurement. There are two ways to do it. So let's look at that. I go back to the previous one. I have my measuring tape. And this is the straight edge right along here. I know it don't look straight, but it is. And I measure this way. What I got from that was 7.5. So you know the top width at the back is 7.5. And it's two pieces you need for the back. So you know one piece is going to measure 7.5. Then you come to the bottom here and you measure what it is from the straight edge to here and then get 5. Now if you're familiar with the crochet or the knitting part of calculating your stitches, it's always advisable to do a swap, meaning a sample on the knitting or a sample of crochet about 6 inches each side. 4 sides must measure 6 inches. And for example, you will calculate, you will do that, you either hand crochet or you do it on the knitting machine, and you measure, make sure you do 6 inches amount, okay? And in the 6 inches, you are going to count how many stitches falls within the 6 inches. And that will give you, I do it a simpler way. I do actually 1 inch. So I measure how many, I don't follow the rules with 6 inches. I just do 1 inch. How many stitches I get in the same, either whether it's crochet or it's knitting, I measure how many stitches that do I get in 1 inch, and I convert that. So if I have 5 inches here for crochet, that's crochet, not knitting, right? But the bottom line is, it is 5 inches that I need. Now I have to do a sample on the addy because it's knitting I need. And then I have to do about, say, I'm going to do 2.5 to see how much stitch falls in 1 inch, and I'm going to multiply that. So for example, if on the width, which is what I want, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches fall in 1 inch, I'm going to say 6 multiply by 5 because I need 5 inches. Do you understand? So instead of say, because you need 5, you do. I'm doing it by 1 inch, literally, and I'm trying to find how many stitches end up in 1 inch, and I get 6. So I'm going to say 6 multiplied by 5, and whatever that number is, that's the amount of stitch I need on the Addi to make the 5 inches. I hope you get that. The other thing quickly after, and don't forget your length. You need the length. You do the same thing from here to here. I would say I will give it, since I have another stitch at the end here, I might do something similar. I would say it's 4 inches right here, because remember I put an additional thing which I'm considering to do the same thing, so it really falls in 4 inch, and you multiply the same thing on the, however you're turning the stitches, you count them and you multiply it the same way. So that's how you will know how many stitches that you need on the Addi or in crochet.